Hi everyone, I'm Renee, Appelle, Vox Media's head of partnerships, and I am here with Jacs Wyatt, head of digital marketing at Samsung. We're going to have a great conversation about how Jacs uses marketing and innovation and digital platforms to lead to all of the growth that she's helping to deliver for Samsung. And before we get into that, I'm going to let Jacs tell you a little bit more about herself.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, and what a great setting to talk about marketing and innovation. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, I lead digital marketing for Samsung on the mobile division. So anything, phones, watches, buds, tablets, PCs, that's my world, and I'm very lucky. I have one of the best jobs in the world. I
think as a woman who's traditionally on the go, you running mobile feels very appropriate.
Yes.
A lot of what we wanted to start talking to you about was about brand building. Mm-hmm. You've been able to maintain an amazing competitive edge in your space, and it takes a lot of sort of brand awareness and the ability to sort of help differentiate your offerings to others in the tech space. Tell us a little bit about how you can create that for consumers.
Sure. I mean, I think to me there's two parts to that answer. The first would be that we truly do have the most innovative tech in the world. I mean, I have it, to show and tell if you don't mind, but I mean, look at this. I mean, it's a phone that folds. It's amazing.
Really cool.
So when you have such innovative technology, mm-hmm. you have to tell an innovative marketing story. Yeah. Some of the things I tell our partners all the time and my team is we can't be lame out there. I can't say, oh, we have this innovative tech with a lame ad.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work. So that's the first piece, is that we also in marketing need to be just as innovative as our amazing products. But on that point, I just can't chase the shiny new things. And so we have to be founded in objectives. What is the goal? Make sure everybody's very clear on it. And objectives are more than just business goals. Objectives are, who am I trying to reach? What am I trying to say? And I think as long as you're solid in objectives, that builds the guardrails to actually have great innovative marketing.
That's such an interesting point. I think one of the things that you said that really resonated was this idea of like finding the right sort of media mix, or how do you find the right places to tell those innovative stories that are not just the latest and greatest shiny objects, but ones that will be able to have the right platform to show the innovation, to highlight and to connect with the consumer that you're trying to reach. Tell us a little bit about how you think about full funnel, or maybe going particularly for demand gen, or particularly for brand awareness. How do you create that balance for your messaging?
Gosh, I mean, to me, it's almost every day we have to keep looking at that balance.
Yeah.
But again, once you know the objective of what you're trying to do, I think that's where you find the part of the funnel. That said, I think it's really been fun, especially, and I know it's kind of the hot topic everybody keeps talking about, but with optimization through AI, it has opened up more opportunities to try new things. I'm very lucky. My career started at a consulting firm called Eureka Ranch in Cincinnati. The founder, Doug Hall, really instilled in me with our innovation work, fail fast, fail cheap. Fail fast, fail cheap.
Yep.
And I think, again, like once you have that objective of what you're trying to do, when it comes to the funnel, when it comes to what tactics to use, and thanks to the optimization AIs, you can fail fast, fail cheap. If it doesn't work, you can pull it quickly. But at least now we're trying new things we haven't done before, because there's all of these tools out there to do it. So even the full funnel part of marketing, to me, it's almost shrinking a little bit, because we're talking about phones. Phones are with us all the time. It's a very personal purchase. Mm-hmm. You also don't buy one every other day.
No.
So we're finding somebody at their journey in their purchase decision for a phone. It's about a 2-year process.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm really thankful that I think the tools have really helped us, make that full funnel and really find them at the right point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, use the tools that you have at your disposal to measure and to learn and to ideate and iterate, so that you're always staying sort of doing what works and maybe moving away and optimizing towards things that maybe
that don't work. Yes.
Didn't deliver as much as you would hope.
I always tell folks, I'm like, it's okay to show a bad number. I mean, it didn't work. Let's not do it again. Like, don't be afraid of the results, because the results will tell us which way to go.
That's awesome.
And a bad result, that's okay.
Yeah,
all right, we won't do it again.
Directional. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. One of the things that I think is interesting, and we keep sort of hearing in today's digital landscape, is this idea of digital marketing and the creators that we use to sort of have a marketplace where different people speak on behalf of our brands and are part of our brand story. Can you tell us a little bit about how you think about creators and how they fit into your storytelling?
Oh, absolutely. Creators are definitely a wonderful foundation for us. And Simon Callan, who leads our influencer team at Samsung, truly is changing the way that we look at influencers and creators. And the first piece of what he and the team are doing is really making sure that it's not just a transactional thing.
Right.
I think that's what's most important, is we are very transparent with our creators of why we're working with them, what we want to get out of them. I mentioned objectives beforehand. Trust me, they know the objective that we've assigned to them, and that we're in this together on the long term.
Yeah.
And I think that, to me, is a very, very important part as we grow into the next phase of creators.
Yeah.
It can't be transactional.
Right.
If it's just a, hey, will you post this for us? I mean, we're all consumers. We get it. We know it. We see through it. When we work with creators, we want them to be just as excited about the innovations we have as they are. I feel like they're an extension of us. And that, to me, is the foundation of our creator program.
You guys have always been able to really walk that line of having that authenticity. When someone speaks on behalf of your brands, you really feel like they're bought into the messaging and they're along with you for that journey. And I think, as you said, as active consumers, people really are, especially this next generation, right, really expecting for that authenticity to come through in the way that you're talking to them and the way that you respect their time and their buying power. Gen Z is really important to you and to a lot of our marketing friends. Is there a different philosophy that you apply to how you're thinking about messaging to them or connecting them to the way that you communicate?
Well, I mean, we mentioned the word before. I wish there was a better word than authenticity, but that really is true. I mean, they were born with phones in their hands, right? So they've always had it, and so I think it's important for us to be very respectful of the authenticity with them. But to be honest with you, the more that I think we dive into Gen Z, frankly, I remember myself at that age. And a lot of things have changed, yes. Technology has changed, and there's it's an amazing world we live in, but at the same time, we all remember what it's like to want to be part of the crowd, but also be an individual. And I think that's something that, at least for our brand and our products, I think we do that. We say that with, Samsung phones, you can be an individual, you can take the best pictures in the world, you can show it off on social media, all of those things. So I don't know. We see all the data, which is great. If I may pivot for a second, sorry.
Please.
One thing that we did recently that I'm really proud of for Gen Z is we actually just ran a marketing case competition for college students.
That's awesome.
And it was really interesting because Janet Lee, my CMO, and I, we sat around and said, gosh, how do we talk to Gen Z? I don't know, let's just ask them. Here's innovation in a nutshell, right? Let's just ask them. And so what we did was we did a marketing case competition with college students, asking them, how would you promote foldable phones to Gen Z? And they did the presentation in front of senior leadership from Qualcomm, Samsung, Google, Publicis, Chael, and we were blown away with what they presented. And the winner got an internship with Google, a paid internship with Qualcomm, and we all sat back and went, whoa, we're too much in all of this data, all of this overthinking. Remember what it was like. And
talk to them.
And I think, it's somebody the other day said, what advice do you have for marketing in Gen Z? And my response was, go ask them.
I love that.
They want to share their point of view.
100%.
So we're hoping to do it again next year because I think it was very valuable for them, but for us, what we learned and the connection that we made with them, again, talk about the word authenticity. It was unbelievable.
So interesting you should bring that up. Elizabeth Rutledge from American Express asked us to come in with Nilay Patel from The Verge, who we work a lot together on, and Heather Pesca from our creative team to talk about how we think about as editorial brands and as content creators marketing to Gen Z. And then she had Gen Zers come in right after our session and sort of rebut that or kind of give their personal perspective from that conversation. So I think it is really interesting to get, in a lot of cases, outside expertise, right? Like, what are the editors saying? What are the people who are content creators saying? Then what is the consumer saying? And then what do we think? And kind of triangulating that experience to create the real strong marketing message. Because no one knows your message and your why the Galaxy phone takes better pictures than you all. But it's really nice, I'm sure, to hear from those other perspectives of those who are empowered to either tell those stories or to be the arbiters or consumers of those stories. What would resonate? What do you need to hear from us that would help you make that decision?
Exactly. Yeah. It's, one of the philosophies that I have with our team, with our agency, with our partners, such as Vox, is let's all come to the table together. Because I don't think we all don't need to be gurus.
No.
You know, I think the guru world is over. It's more so, let's come to the table and say, again, let's go back to objectives. What are the objectives? What are we trying to do? And, you know, when it's appropriate, have Gen Z sit there too. And they will give you their advice. That's the big thing that I think I learned is, wow, you just said that in front of the CMO of Samsung. Good for you. But that's just it. They will say it. So, like you said, let's get all together and talk about it. Because you don't have to be the guru anymore. I think the best gurus in the world are the ones that say, I don't know anything. Let's figure it out
collaborate.
Together.
Tell me a little bit about how context plays into your consideration. You know, you have a lot of places you can message. There are platforms and publishers and TV and out of home. And in all those cases, obviously audience is I would assume, I don't want to say obvious, but I would assume audience is the most important thing. You want to reach the right person at the right time, and we you know, hear that often. But how important is the right context to you as you think about your, you know, where you're going to deliver your message?
To me, it's a big foundational piece of having the right context, because again, I think people see through when it doesn't make sense. And another big piece that I'm really very proud of that we've done, especially I think over the last year or so, is working directly with the various partners to say, how do we best represent ourselves on your platform? Again, walking away from I'm the guru, but instead saying, these are the goals that I have on your platform. What does success look like? A good example of that is, of course, within social media. I mean, none of the platforms are the same. They're not. And there's a reason everybody's on them in different ways at different times. And if I copy and paste what's on TV to social media, to a Verge takeover, we look like fools. So I don't want to look like a fool. I don't want to look lame. You know, that's at the end of the day, these are all things I'm trying to avoid. But again, I think 10 years ago, you had to walk in as that marketing guru having all the answers, where I'd rather come in and say, gosh, you know what? Hey, Renee, I don't know exactly how to do this, but can you help? How do we tell this story to the audience that you can help deliver this to?
I love that. As you look ahead, we're heading into Q1, right? A busy Q4 for you guys, I'm sure. Yes. But 2024 right around the corner. Are there innovations or marketing messages or communication strategies that are particularly exciting for you as you continue your journey in helping people sort of choose your products over others?
To me, again, I drank the Kool-Aid.
I love it.
I'm officially drinking the Kool-Aid of AI optimization. And the reason is because I feel as though we can practice marketing again.
I love that.
You know, we've been all about the science of marketing, which I think has been exciting.
Yeah,
again, right? So there was an art, and the art was, yes, you can't measure it. And now sometimes I wonder if we're measuring too much. I mean, measurement is of course important, but you know, we still have to answer the big questions of, did I influence a consumer? There's no one number that tells me that. And I think with the optimization of AI within all of these platforms, I can let the science kind of run itself and get back to the art of marketing.
And make some bets off those arts.
And yes. I mean, and I've sat in the room with small budgets and big budgets, and I'll tell you, the pressure feels just the same. Right. It doesn't matter what size your budget is. It doesn't. Everybody's feeling that pressure, I think, especially in marketing, to make a dollar go faster than ever before. And if you can depend on the platforms to take all of these great ideas you have and work through what's the best message for each of those audience members, that frees you up to have the practice of marketing again. So I drank the Kool-Aid, but I'm all in. And I'm really excited to see where that goes for next year. I think the other piece that's exciting for next year, you mentioned context before, is there is still a value, I think, in our products of people closing that phone, or seeing how the Zoom works on our S series, and how do we again think about that overall marketing experience of doing the experiential things and having all of that mixed in. So
I was just going to ask you a little bit more about that. You've got about 1 million jobs at Samsung, one of which is to shepherd the truly the consumer experience through the way that your activations come to life. Are there ways in which you're thinking creatively about sort of showcasing product or inviting consumers in to sort of be a part of that journey and to see the differentiated offerings in your products in a shared space?
Absolutely. So we right down the street here in New York, we have our Samsung Galaxy experience we did for our last launch, the Fold 5 and Flip 5. And we, thanks to our partners and Suwon, put together a really neat experience where you could walk through and experience the devices, how it works for you.
Yeah.
So maybe it's all about the selfies.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so there was a selfie station, but I'll tell you all something too. The gaming on a Fold 5, like gaming is incredible, and I got to see our CEO test a game against a kid, and I mean, I hate to tell you, but I think he lost. That's okay though.
Fair enough.
Of course, that's right. But I mean, and how do you do it with productivity? And so showing how, because I think that's it, is you have to be able to see these devices and catch it. And I think the thing that I loved most about witnessing that space during our launch period is, don't assume you know what people are going to be most excited about, because again, like it might be that guy that walks in that's super cool and like, I don't need anything, and he really loves the selfie station, right? or the mom that really gets into gaming with their kids. And I think that's what's really powerful about the space that we made here, to really make you understand just all of the amazing benefits from the Galaxy devices.
It sounds like you guys have benefited a lot from like really active consumer listening.
Yes.
So you take that really seriously, and that you really participate in knowing what you want to convey, but letting the consumer also be a part of teaching you what they want to hear and where they're most excited about your features and benefits, as you were sharing.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm very lucky that I run our social media team. We have a blast, frankly, engaging more and more with our customers, showing our personality. Yeah. In fact, even if you follow our social media handles, you see the social media team. We film ourselves doing things together. But again, that's it. As a brand, we are. I mean, I know it's this big brand with this big name, but behind it, we're consumers too. 100%. And we're big believers in our product, but we also want to hear how it can be better.
Mm-hmm. As we wrap our conversation today in general for Brand Innovators Leadership Summit, we're going to end with women in leadership. You're a working mom. Yes. I'd love someday to say to someone you're a working dad, but topic for another day.
That's
but
right.
You are a working mom.
Yes.
You cover so much in what you do, and both parts of that life is so important to you. How you show up authentically as a woman and as a mother and as a wife, as a friend is so important to you. And then the way that you're able to over deliver on career expectations and taking on different departments and new challenges. What is some of the advice you have for women who are starting in their careers or continuing to sort of build in their leadership qualities and skills? How can they, achieve excellence in all camps as best we can?
It's a journey. Well, as you spoke, my heart just felt so large and so big, because I think my best advice is to connect with other women that you admire, much like yourself. I'm truly so lucky. I have an amazing working mom leader in Janet. Yeah. And I'll tell you, like I had a baby while working with her, and she made it very clear to me that it will not impact my career. Having somebody to go to say I'm struggling, to get these things done, to your point, to make all these things happen, and she says, stay at home. Yeah. She always, the value of having a leader like her, I don't know. I'm struggling with my words because I love her. But I think to answer, one of the things that I see a lot with women, with my peer set, with my friends, with even the wonderful women that work for me, is sometimes I think they're afraid to reach out. Yeah. What's been amazing for me is if I reach out and say to somebody, can we get some coffee? I really just want to connect with somebody. Mm-hmm. Hey, I've asked people, will you be my mentor? Yeah. And they say yes. And then they give me great advice. And sometimes just seeing them automatically makes me go, you're not alone. Right. And so to me, the biggest advice I would give anybody that's struggling, know that we all are struggling. Yeah. And so the best way to get through it is to do it together. Yeah. Nobody knows what we go through, right? But we do. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just keep going. Yeah. That's the best way to put it.
It's a good piece of advice.
Find some mentors, friends, whatever word you want to call it. I don't know what that word is. Coaches, advocates. All of those words are the same thing, but you're not alone. Yeah. I promise you're not alone. So reach out.
I think what's interesting about what you said too is the idea of like vocalizing to normalize. I think if we feel like there's not a space for us to say it, then no one feels like they're in it together. So I think if we do a better job as a community of admitting when things are hard. I remember one of my former bosses was like, listen, if you need to go to pick up your kids or you need to go to a doctor's appointment. He's like, I don't want you to say, I have to pop out for a minute, whatever. He's like, I want you to say to your team out loud, Hudson has a doctor's appointment. I'm going to be gone from 2 to 3.
Exactly.
So that someone, subordinate to you then feels the same sort of empowerment that, oh, she takes him to a doctor's appointment, I can take my child to a doctor's appointment. So it was interesting as I grew up at CBS Sports and NBC Sports, which were traditionally a little bit more masculine culture, and not to say that people didn't take their kids to doctor's appointments, but we sort of hid it, and I kind of saw that trickle down as the thing that no one talked about. So it is really nice in the new era of leadership to vocalize, to normalize, so that we all feel like it's a shared journey and a shared challenge.
It is. Well, I'm going to borrow that phrase, but that's it.
Yeah.
We're not alone, and so often I think as women we tend to just
take it,
and it's like, and there's just I will tell you, I texted a friend the other day. She's amazing, and I just a long text probably, and telling her what I was struggling with, and she said, "Is there anything I can do to help?" And I said, "No, just knowing I have somebody to text that says you're not alone." Yeah. And it's hard, but that vulnerability is. I think to circle it back to the marketing before. Yeah. I think it's even doing some of the best campaigns in the world are walking in the room saying, I don't have the answers, can you all help? Yeah. And I think as a working mom, same thing. I don't have all the answers, can you help? Yeah. Yeah. Rising tide. Yeah, it's fun to not have all the answers, in my opinion. 100%, and be confident to turn up and admit that. Yes, exactly. And watch the magic happen from that. Well, we couldn't thank you enough for your time. Oh my gosh, thank you. You've been a pleasure to have a conversation with, and we're lucky to share the community with you. So thank you, and we're excited to have more great conversations in the future. Let's do it. Okay. I'm in. Thank you.